what if I have a tragic early demise and somebody reads my journal after I'm dead and they think I was such a weirdo? These are literally thoughts that cross my mind when I'm journaling. Don't overthink yourself out of journaling. I have always been hyper conscious of people potentially reading my journal. And I know some of you have also had these thoughts because I see people talk about this all the time online. And I think that the crowd I attract to my socials is probably a low-key anxious crowd. So I know you know what I'm talking about. I have been a journaler since I was a little kid. I used to actually journal more like comic book style. I wouldn't write a bunch of just words. I would draw like situations I was in at school or with crushes I had and kind of add little dialogue bubbles, and that was how I journaled for a really long time as a kid. I would actually give little journal tours to my mom. In retrospect, that's a testament to how much I trusted my mom and just how great of a mom she is, and I felt safe to share what was in my journals with her, and I wanted to for some reason. I think that this desire to share my journal was an early sign, something that would persist through my adult life. I think a way I have figured out how to cope with the fear of being vulnerable and people reading my thoughts without permission is expose my thoughts on my own terms. I really enjoy sharing things online about the journaling process, about my art process, behind the scenes stuff. And I really don't mind doing that. I get a lot out of it. I think it's really fun, but that is by no means what everyone should do, especially if that stresses you out to think about somebody even seeing it online. Journaling is 100% yourself first before thinking about what others may get out of it. So, and I obviously keep certain pages offline as well. There are brain dump pages and stuff that don't need to be online. They just are for me to go through those emotions at that time. If you also have the fear of somebody potentially reading your journal, just know that you are overthinking it. The fear comes from the anticipation of doing the activity of journaling. It doesn't come from actually being in the middle of journaling and then having those thoughts. It's always, I've noticed with this is you stop yourself from even experiencing the experience before, because it's so uncomfortable to think about. Once you are actively in the process of journaling, you will notice that fear alleviates, because the action of journaling is so good for you that it heals you. If you don't believe me and you're still overthinking all of this, I have some ways for you to practice journaling without being worried about who's potentially reading it. It's helpful to encode what you're journaling. I don't necessarily think in words, and I don't journal in words, express myself in words as well as I do with aesthetics. So collaging, sketching, painting, those are more my mediums for expressing myself. And I think my little paintings and sketches speak 1,000 words, and none of those words are specific. So only I know the specific meaning behind them. So if someone were to see it, they're not necessarily going to know what is the exact meaning behind the images. So that is one way to journal in a kind of encoded way. Another way that you can be a little more secretive in your journal is you can scribble really messily, especially when you're doing an anxiety brain dump. I do this all the time. I just kind of write in a crazy cursive font that I don't even necessarily understand half the time. And it's just super cathartic to get it out on the page that way. And honestly, unless you have a genuinely very nosy person in your living situation, the fear about this is really unfounded, and I'm trying to give you guys permission to just leave that fear at the door. But if you genuinely don't feel safe with the sanctity of your journal, it can be really tempting to censor yourself. And if you need to put yourself at ease about it, you can definitely put a little lock on your journal, like the old school diaries that we had when we were kids. Another solution is to write your feelings out and then just completely black it out or collage or paint over those words. And I think that's a really fun one to do, just to expel some toxic feelings and thoughts. And maybe it's not the best like memory keeping way to journal, but at least you're doing it as a practice to kind of help your mental health. But again, this is your permission to leave those fears at the door. Like, if you don't have a genuine reason to be worried about someone reading your journal, like I don't. I know that no one's going to be doing that, but there's still that thought in the back of my mind, like, you know, challenge yourself to do it anyways. You should do it scared, you should do it anxious, you should do it paranoid, you should do it imperfect, you should do it messy, just do it. The overthinking is stopping you from creating, and that is a self-destructive cycle to be in. And I think another speed bump that people run into with journaling is that they feel like it has to be exactly like everybody else. So everyone online posts their highlight reels. They post the most beautiful pages that they have in their journal. They talk about how they journal daily, about how you have to do it every single day and be perfect. That all can be like very intimidating and make you not want to journal at all if you're not doing it perfect. There are some people that do journal daily, and then there are people like me who journal several days in between journaling, or even several weeks. I sometimes will take week-long unintentional breaks, and that's like due to attention issues, busyness in my life and schedule, living in the moment, forgetting to make time for that. And you should not beat yourself up about that. It's okay to not be a disciplined journaler. As long as you implement it into your life in whatever way works for you. The key to journaling as a habit is looking forward to doing it. Feeling like you're in trouble or like you're doing it wrong is not looking forward to it. You're feeling like negative about how consistent you are with it. But consistency means something different person to person. So the anxiety brain tells us that we failed if we miss one day. And then if you keep doing that, your anxiety brain just keeps telling you that you're a failure. And then you end up burning out completely. And then you have a half-finished journal, or even only a few pages in your journal, because you feel like it's a reminder of something negative. I think, just hear me out on my perspective, I think you should grab your journal whenever the muse strikes. For some people that might be every morning because you're a morning person and you like to journal with your cup of coffee, and then sometimes the muse strikes at 2 a.m. and you just need to get some sketches and words out. And that is consistent to you. It's just based off of who you are as a person and your personality. So basically, just don't tear yourself down if you're not a perfect daily journaler. Journaling and how to journal does not look one specific way. And I'm obviously going to give different advice than a person who habitually journals every day without like pictures or junk or collages. I do it all in my journal. I let that be a place of just complete chaos and freedom, because I do sometimes just do words. I just will brain dump and it'll be like 3 pages worth of just writing, and it's not super cutesy or anything. And then the next like 20 pages will be just memory collecting, scrapbooking basically. And then I'll go through a phase of like really wanting to like sketch out ideas for new stickers, or then I'll want to sketch some ideas out for like watercolor paintings. So my journal is just a combination of everything. It's a writing journal, it's a scrapbook, it's diary, it's a sketchbook, it's all those things in one. And I believe like my art can't exist without the writing, and the writings can't exist without the scrapbooked memories. And it's just like a cycle, and it all informs each other, and it doesn't take away from each thing. Like some pages are gonna end up on my website because they're just so cute, and then other pages like will never see the light of day, and that is all part of the process, and my journal is the place for that. And I know some people really enjoy separating the different themes into different books, and if that makes sense for you, that's what you should do. A little more organized that way. And something I did start doing recently is I have made a separate book for my travels, just because I need it to be smaller. My regular journal is like 5 times the size of this one, and it's great for artsy stuff and collaging, but I got the same exact brand and type of paper and got a mini version. And I do the same exact thing. I'll do collages, I'll do sketches, and I'll do writing all in this. It's just travel sized. But yeah, it's more chaotic to fit everything into one, but some of us aren't clean girls, okay? One way or the other is not more correct. It's just personal preference. My personality is very moody and I ebb and flow a lot, so it makes sense that my journal is a reflection of that, and it's going to be the same way. And for me, I really like keeping all of my interests at one time in the same chronological journal, because when I look back on it, I'm going to be like, this is when I was really obsessed with this artist, and this is when I was really into frogs or whatever it is, and this is when I traveled to Nashville and visited my sister. It's like all connected, and it's almost like all of my journals, if I look at them from my first one to now, it's like a whole story, and it's me growing along with my journals. And that's what I like to do with my journals, to have the memories for me to look back on and peek into and read. I don't know about you guys, but journaling has really helped me with my memory. So I feel like all of my 20s had a really hard time remembering things, and I don't know if it's because of COVID or something, trauma, I don't know. I feel like my memory is getting better because I experienced some wild travels and things, life events, and I will put them to paper, and then now like it's cemented, and I really am relishing in these memories a lot better. So journaling has been how I hold on to the experiences before they float away in my hectic chaos brain. My advice is don't overthink yourself out of journaling. Hope that you leave after listening to this video with a newfound perspective on how journaling can be a part of your life in whatever way that might be. This is your permission to stop overthinking it and just do it. Just do it.